Welcome to the Bull and Bear Show, episode number 22 with King Earl and Blaze. How you gentlemen doing today?
Doing wonderful, thank you.
How you doing, Earl? Hey, Earl, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, perfect. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic, man. So we're gonna start off with Bitcoin. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Bitcoin. I know you guys are as well, and lots of great things happening with Bitcoin this week. Some weird things, but at the end of the day, I think a lot of good things, and we're gonna talk about that. It's gonna be a big part of our show today because Bitcoin is starting to really take off. Now, there was fake news essentially that started off this week with Bitcoin. Here's the title. Uh, BlackRock to start the week had it was rumored that BlackRock had been approved for the Bitcoin ETF, but it was fake news, and Bitcoin and BlackRock was not approved for the ETF. So the price of Bitcoin skyrocketed and went up like 10% immediately. And then all of a sudden, the price dropped because the rumor came out that it was just a rumor. So now we're sitting here trying to figure out what's the truth. Nobody really knows. But what we do know is that there is no ETF yet that has been approved with BlackRock. So my question to you guys is this. What do you think about this? Is this a rumor? Is this factual? Did somebody tell something too soon? We'll start with you, King Earl. What do you think about this news?
I mean, it could be many things. I mean, it could be people actually investing to buy the news, or it could be secondarily somebody sneaking in before they actually approve it, i.e., the U.S. federal government or BlackRock itself, or giving somebody else a bigger chance. But I'd lean more heavily on the U.S. government trying to get more Bitcoin before it's bought. And then I don't think BlackRock's going to buy it all at once because they know that the sell pressure is going to be high. So, but I mean, once it takes off, they're not really going to be able to stop it. But at the same time, everybody's been waiting for huge, large institutional investing for trading Bitcoin. And then, of course, we're going to see a drop once it actually does go all the way up. But, that's to be expected. So I expect they'll actually install their investments in installments when it does happen. And, there might have been some minor other people doing investing, not even here in the U.S. So,
Okay. And what do you think about it, Blaze?
I think it's slight sabotage. Rumors sabotage everything and makes the price either go down or up, right? Well, in this case, the price should be going down a little bit in my book. And I think, I don't think BlackRock's ready to purchase anything at 30 grand right now. You know what I mean? When they think they can get it for like 27. So this could be inside stuff. It could be outside stuff. Like Earl said, it could be either or. But I firmly believe that someone's tampering with the news just to fluctuate the token and see how fast the public's actually listening. So it's kind of like a little test run in my book, if you know what I mean. And it could be
Yeah,
anybody. It's legit, though. It's a good thing to do sometimes. I hate to say it, but you got to see how the public reacts. And there's big investors out there that shoot news out, and they want to know what's going on.
well, we've all predicted that Bitcoin was going to get over 30,000 in October and November. So this is kind of doing exactly what we thought it would do. When the Bitcoin BlackRock ETF approval news came out, it got picked up everywhere, right? Got picked up everywhere. Everyone was talking about it. People even had to, big organizations even had to come out and apologize for breaking the news incorrectly. So my thing is, where did it come from? It obviously came from somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but I think it had to have come from somewhere. We got Nash Cowboy here. Nash Cowboy, can we hear you?
Try this. This is another
Hey, it
device.
works.
It's a
There it
different device.
is. Good man. Welcome.
Yay!
Good to
Yes,
have you on the show, brother. Glad that you're here. Hey, you know what? We can get your opinion. So this week, BlackRock came out. and there was a rumor that BlackRock had been approving the SEC had approved the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF, and the price of Bitcoin shot up 11%. Everyone was excited, everyone was celebrating, and then BlackRock came out the same day, not too like maybe an hour or two later, saying it's not true. We haven't approved the Bitcoin ETF. We haven't been approved by the SEC, and then Bitcoin went back down. Now Bitcoin's come back up again, and we're sitting right around 30,000, just a little bit under right now. What do you think about that? Do you think where there's smoke, there's fire? Do you think an approval is coming soon? Do you think that they jumped the gun? Do you think someone just pumped this up because they wanted to see a price increase? Like, why do you think that this came out early? What's your opinion on that?
I don't think they're approved yet. My personal opinion is somebody saw an opportunity and used it to make a lot of money. Somebody heavily invested in Bitcoin, spread the rumor out there, and then they cashed out when it went up, and knew it would only last for a couple of days, and you know now it's come back down, but now it's, and then they bought back in. That's my personal opinion. Somebody saw an opportunity to screw other people over.
Mm-hmm.
You always got to do your research. No matter what you're investing in, you always got to do your research. You need to verify all claims about any kind of investment, whether it be a house or stocks or crypto or anything. You need to verify all the information on it, because there is always going to be somebody trying to get a little extra out of the game.
Okay, perfect. I like
Well
you guys'
said,
opinion.
Nash.
Go ahead.
I said, well said, Nash.
Yeah, see, I think where there's smoke, there's fire, and I think that there's somebody that knows something. And I think
It's a
that
pitch.
I think there is an approval coming. I think it's going to come very, very soon. And I think that someone leaked this news. That's kind of what I think it is. I think it's coming, and I think someone leaked the news. Now, I have no idea when it's coming. I don't have that information. But the deadline from the SEC is January 10th. So the reality is we're already sitting on October 21st. So we've got less than 3 months until the deadline. So even if it doesn't happen now, or it doesn't happen next month, or it doesn't happen December, it has to happen by January 10th. So my question to you guys is this: when do you guys think we're going to see the first Bitcoin spot ETF approved? We'll start with you, Earl.
Well, we already know that some of the deadlines are already starting to come up, especially for like Grayscale. But I mean, they could push it on into next year. But even if they approve it, doesn't mean that it's going to be instantly bought. You know what I mean? They still
Yep.
have to allocate the funds and move the funds, and then, as we already know, fiat's extremely slow. So we'll have to see what they actually do. And then I think, November we could potentially see it, but you know, on approvals, November to March. So, but that's about where we're looking. But
November
as
to
far as
March.
them actually starting their investment installations, it could be after the halving, and then, like I said, installments to buy the lower prices of people. The sell pressure increases.
Okay. Nash Cowboy, when do you think we're going to see a Bitcoin spot ETF approval?
January 4th.
Okay.
I think that's when everything is going to be implemented. A lot of different things. So, if they don't, the deadline's the 10th. If they don't, then it's gonna, it's basically forced approved. So anytime after January, I don't think we'll see it before then, though. But after January 1st, somewhere around I think it'll take a few days into January, so January 4th, a lot of things will start popping off. And then I think BlackRock's going to heavily invest, but like Earl said, it does take some time to move that kind of funds. So it could take some time to actually implement.
Okay. What do you think, Blaze? When do you think we're going to see? I think we all believe that it's going to happen. So when do you think we're going to see this approval?
Okay, so I look at it this way. Normally, they announce, they invest, and they boost. This time around, they're going to invest and then announce. Okay, they're not going to go announcing it to boost it up and pay more. So the best time is January, as Nash stated. But I think later January, on the fast tax returns, people are going to start investing. They're going to do it, and they're going to get it done before the halving. So no later than March, right? But yeah, I think January would be the best time to go because a lot of people are going to want to make money off their money with this economy right now, and I think Bitcoin is going to be the way to go in January next year, 2024. Yep.
Yeah, I think next year is going to be very
I
explosive.
think
So right now,
late January, you know, they're
okay,
going to
I
try and
think those
time
are.
it for tax refunds, this, that. They're going to try and time it, man, and they're
Yeah,
going to
I
play
think
it
so
right.
too. I
They're going
think
to
that
buy. You're going to see Bitcoin jump, and then they'll announce it the next day. That's what you're going to see.
on the screen right now, it's got the title is Coinbase Legal Chief SEC must approve BlackRock's Bitcoin spot ETF. So now the news is they have to approve this. So everyone's coming out pretty much already decided and determined that this is going to happen, which is very, very good news. Very, very bullish for Bitcoin and for investors and anyone that's holding Bitcoin. That's why I think people are buying it right now because they're like, okay, this is going to happen. Like it's pretty much almost guaranteed at this point that it has to happen. So that's why now I think people are buying because they're like, okay, this is going to happen. Let me get in now because once this gets approved, we've already seen it when the rumor came in that it went up 11% like immediately. Once this gets approved, it's going to be rocket fuel for Bitcoin. So let me get in now, and that's why I think the price is going up. Now, the other theory I heard is that what the SEC is trying to do is they want to approve them all at the same time because of the fact that they want there to be competition. So what I'm hearing is the SEC is going to try to approve them all at the same time so that there's fair competition in pricing, fees, rates. So imagine if they approve them all at the same time. So in my opinion, if they do approve them all at the same time, I think it's going to be around January 10th. That's the deadline. I think the SEC is going to drag it out as long as they can. I hope that I'm wrong, but I think they're going to drag it out as long as they can, very close to that January 10th deadline. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to approve them all at the same time. Now, can you guys imagine if they approved 9 Bitcoin spot ETFs all at the same time? What do you guys think would happen to the price? Let me get your guys' opinion. Let's just imagine that on January 10th, they approve them all at the same time. What do you think that does to the price? We'll start with you, Earl.
Well, I think primarily it's going
Did we lose him?
We lost them.
Oh, we lost Earl?
I think so.
Hey, Earl, you cut out. Okay, while we wait for Earl to get back, we'll get you, Nash Cowboy. What do you think that does? Let's say we get 9 Bitcoin spot ETFs approved all at the same time. What do you think that does to the Bitcoin price?
Um, ugh. It's hard to say, like, how much are they planning on investing for one thing? Because what they're going to do is they're going to buy up as much as possible. All right, so that they can do with it what they want. But how soon are they going to invest? I'm still sticking with my guns that there's going to be a drop in January and February, and even leading into the beginning of March. And then after that, I think it's skyrocket from there. Just based off of patterns, I got to stick to what I know as history, and that's what's happened every accumulation year before the Bitcoin happened. So I'm sticking with that. Um, the ETFs are uncharted territory. It's we don't know what's going to happen. Could it send it skyrocket to 1 million a coin? Maybe. We don't know. Um, who knows? I sticking with history, I think it's going to top out at 100, high end 180,000 this bull market. So, but seeing that BlackRock, I mean, BlackRock owns I wrote it down, $9.42 trillion in assets. They manage that much money. That's almost a quarter of the total amount of money in the whole world.
It's crazy. They're a monster.
There's an estimated $40 trillion in the world, and BlackRock manages $9.42 trillion worth of assets. That's a huge company. Like, that's the biggest. And so a lot of people think that Vanguard and BlackRock are the same company because BlackRock owns the most Vanguard and Vanguard owns the most BlackRock. So there's a lot. So they could be even way huger than you think. So they could potentially send it straight to the freaking moon like it's never jumped before. We don't know. So that's it. You got to stick to what you know. Invest as you can because you know it's going up because of the bull market. But is it going to skyrocket to the moon because of BlackRock? We don't know. Invest what you can. That's what we do know you need to do because no matter what, the bull market's going to send it up to 100 to 180. I have a new theory about Bitcoin's price and how much it jumps. I was looking at how much it jumped. It did like a 24x one bull market, and then it did a 12x the next bull market. And this is complete speculation. Without BlackRock, I think it would do a 6x on its money, which would put it at 180,000.
I love it. I'd be very happy with that. King Earl, you're back. Can we hear you?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, buddy. Good to have you back. We didn't get your answer. So, what do you think the price of Bitcoin would be if the SEC approved all of the Bitcoin spot ETFs all at once, which is one of the theories that I heard, which makes a lot of sense to me because the SEC wants competition. They want it to be fair. They want these ETFs to have similar pricing. So there's not going to be, one ETF charging one fee and another ETF charging another fee. They want it to be very, very streamlined across the board. So what do you think that could potentially do for Bitcoin if all 9 Bitcoin spot ETFs got approved at the same time?
Well, I think it's going to be extremely competitive. Also, I see extreme sell pressure going to be keeping the price down from some of these other traders now. But can you not hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, it says I lost connection, so I was checking. So there's going to be heavy sell pressure, which is going to continue to drive the price down. But I mean, it's going to be accumulation phase anyway. So I don't view, that people are going to sell really until after the halving. And then as far as institutional investors or people who are investing assets for Bitcoin, I don't see them selling until 10, 20 years down the road. But the amount of money that they have access to and the amount of money that they'd be willing to risk on something, especially when they only have 7 companies within the S&P 500 driving 11% of the market for the S&P. And then new releases for Apple, Amazon, and NVIDIA coming out this week. It might be harrowing for the tail to come out, and then they're going to have to take a risk somewhere. So they could invest anywhere between $1 trillion and just match what it was last, not more than that.
Okay. What do you think, Blaze? Let's
basically,
go ahead.
You got nine companies, right? They want to get involved in ETFs, right?
That's right.
So to be fair, we're going to give everybody a shot. Okay, so if BlackRock single-handedly out of the 9 puts $1 trillion into Bitcoin, it's going to go over its all-time high and bring it to about 80, 90K. Okay, so you look at Bitcoin's market cap would be like 1.8 billion or trillion. Okay, then you got the other 8. Okay, so even if they put in half of what BlackRock puts in, right, you're talking another 4 trillion. Okay, so now you're up to almost $6 trillion market cap. Bitcoin was 69K at 1.2 trillion. We're talking $200,000-$300,000 tokens. If these people put in a $500 billion each, you know, they're not going to go in with cheap. But the problem is they're also not going to give away free money. They also know where the resistance is at 30K, 39K, 50K. There's all resistance marks, right? They put that kind of money in right away. People are going to start cashing out right away. So I don't really see it affecting it the way people are thinking. 10x, 20x, you know what I mean? I see it bumping it up to its all-time high easily. And then we'll see how it goes from there, you know?
Okay, great. Well, I love your guys' opinions. This is why I love this show. This is why we have this as the Bull and Bear show. We like to talk about what's hot and what's not. And right now, Bitcoin is very, very hot. It's up 100% in a year. It's, in my opinion, the greatest asset on the planet. It's done better than any other asset over the last 14 years of its career. And there is no asset this year that has been able to compete with Bitcoin. Not gold, not equities, not real estate, nothing, not oil. Nothing is up 100% this year like Bitcoin. And the reality is there's so many catalysts that can take this even higher. So now the next article that I want to read is 3 reasons why Bitcoin will see 100K. The 3 reasons they say in this article are: number 1, Bitcoin is no longer a solution without a problem. Number 2, Bitcoin and cryptos are a unique asset class that will only grow in demand, which I 100% agree with. Number 3, economics 101. There is 18.4 million Bitcoins out of a total of 21 million that have been mined, which means there's only 2.6 million Bitcoins left to mine. And experts estimate that 10 to 30% are out of the market due to lost passwords, hardware crashes, and people just forgetting how to get into their accounts. Everybody believes that Bitcoin's going to 100K. Since I've been in Bitcoin since the start, everyone's talked about Bitcoin going to 100K, but it's never done it. Will we see Bitcoin at 100K? Everyone talks about it. That $100,000 mark is a very important number for Bitcoin. It's been talked about since I've been in Bitcoin, since 2017. I've been in for 7 years and I've never seen it. I believe we're going to see it. It might happen next year, but I think for sure it happens in 2025. So my question for you guys, just a quick yes or no. We'll start with you, Earl. Do we see Bitcoin at $100,000 in the next 2 years?
Yes.
Cowboy,
Absolutely.
Blaze,
Absolutely.
and I say yes too. So we all say that Bitcoin's going to 100K over the next 2 years. So that's pretty exciting because we're sitting at 30 grand right now. So if it goes to 100K, we're going to get a chance to do more than double our money over the next 2 years, which is fantastic considering it's already doubled in the last year. So now the next topic is JP Morgan and BlackRock believe that a crypto bull run could push Bitcoin to 200,000. Forget 100,000. They're predicting it could push Bitcoin to 200,000. So we've all said yes to 100,000. So I want to know, will we go to 200,000 on this bull run? Earl, what do you think?
Not without the help of the ETF, of course not. So it depends on what happens with there. But I would say with the light of the ETFs, yes.
Okay, Nash Cowboy, what do you think? We're going to see 200,000 in the next 2 years in Bitcoin?
I'm right there with Earl on that. Everything we know about the ETFs is just speculation. Without it, I think the high end is 180. With it,
Okay.
absolutely.
I mean, it's pretty good because I remember we were getting these types of predictions from smaller banks. We're now getting these predictions from BlackRock, from JP Morgan. These are 2 of the biggest banks in the world. So when
I'm
they
going to go
start
out on a
saying
limb.
that, when they start saying Bitcoin's going to 200,000, I'm really listening. Obviously, 100,000 for me was a huge milestone, but 200,000 means we double everything from there. So what do you think? I know what you just said. So what do you think, Blaze? You think we're going
I
to
didn't mean to jump
200,000?
in on you like that. My bad.
No, go ahead.
Absolutely agree with Nash and King Earl. But I think there's one more thing they forgot about that formula.
What's that?
common sense states that when it halves a year later, it jacks up, right? So
Yep.
you get the ETFs and the halving, we're going over 200K.
Okay, beautiful.
That's
That's
my, like, I've always visioned it for a long time. When I doubted it back in the day and it literally hit 69K, that was it. I became a firm believer. I came in late. I knew about Bitcoin for years before that, but when that sucker hit 69K, like, that thing could easily hit $1 million one day. So we'll go with the 200. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna stick with 100 because I've yet to see 100, so it's hard for me to believe 200 is gonna happen. But crazy things happen during bull markets. Crazy things happen during
It's not
Bitcoin.
just a regular bull market, Rich. Remember, the ETFs go through. There's 9 companies, and then you get the halving.
You're right.
The
You're
halving
right.
alone
So
could bring it to 100K.
So, hey, listen, I want to see it more than anyone, and I'm sure that you guys do too. I want to see it. But until my eyes see 100,000, it's hard for me to predict 200,000. So I'm going to stick with 100,000 for now. But if it hits 200,000, I will be one of the happiest guys in the room. I promise you guys that, because I am a holder of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I also believe that if Bitcoin goes to 100,000, that we're going to see Ethereum go to 10,000. And that's a huge jump from where Ethereum is today, because Ethereum is sitting at 1,600. So that's a
Yep.
huge jump for Ethereum as well. And I'm a holder of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And full disclosure, guys, remember Rich TV Live and all of the guests here, we are all here for simply for education and entertainment purposes. Please do your own due diligence and do your own research before you invest in anything we talk about or discuss here on the Bull and Bear Show. Past performance is not always an indication of future results, and we don't stand there and hold up the price of Bitcoin for you to make money. I wish we could, but we can't. Maybe one day we will, but we're not at that point yet. So just like you guys, we're investors, we're speculating. We can't guarantee anything, but what we can guarantee you is we're going to be here every single week, every step of the way to explain to you what's going on, bring you the biggest breaking news, give you our opinion, and show you what's going on in the market. So,
Okay.
based on that, here's the price of Bitcoin right now. Price of Bitcoin is at $29,960. It's been flirting with 30,000 all day. So at 30,000, it seems to get a lot of selling pressure. Okay. So just be aware of that if you're looking to invest in Bitcoin, that it's getting a lot of selling pressure at the 30,000 mark. Now, this is actually an article that I want to share with you guys that was shared to me by King Earl. The FBI charges for allegedly running a $30 million money transmitting business using crypto. So I would love to know what you guys think about this, because one of the biggest problems that we've had in crypto over the years is that there's been a lot of scams, there's been a lot of fraud, and that's one of the reasons why crypto hasn't done as well, is because a lot of the big institutions, a lot of big investors always believed that Bitcoin was like one of the places where scams and fraud was happening. And clearly it is. So, what's your opinion on this, King Earl? You shared this article. What do you think about this?
Well, I view that the government's going to want its taxes, and while places like this exist, they're not going to be able to receive their taxes. Same issues with Tornado Cash and some of the other ones. They can't track payments, especially because this was all done on the dark net, where they can't track it unless it's actually done by certain organizations that monitor the dark net. So primarily, they're just wanting their tax money from these transactions and to know where the transactions went to make sure there wasn't any money laundering going on, or any nefarious acts. So it's just people trying to get by with not paying taxes, especially as European the UK is starting to crack down on passing more regulations for tax sharing for exchanges, so they can collect their tax money. Um, and it's going to be the new way of the world. You'll see more cases of this happening as they continue to investigate other things, same as Tornado Cash. People are going to try to find a way not to pay taxes on their profitable gains.
Okay. Nash Cowboy, what do you think about this news?
I'm right with Earl on that. People are always trying to figure out how to not pay taxes. Me myself, try and use all the loopholes I can to get, as many deductions or whatever So people are always trying to figure out a way to hide money. So I'm 100% with Earl on that.
Okay. Blaze, what do you think about this?
Well, it's a common thing. It's going on. You just got one person. They
Yep.
want to avoid paying taxes. It's simple. Back down to what Earl was saying, but I mean, at the end of the day, we can't stop it because every time 2 scams are broken, 5 more come out.
Yep.
That's how things go, man. The government asks for way too much money, first of all, in taxes out of money you make off your own money. So you pay taxes on 100 grand, right? You get 50 grand, right, in Canada. You take your 50 grand to get it back to 100 grand, right? Now you then got to pay them another 25 grand out of the 50 you made. Where is the fine line between this? When is it going to stop with the government jumping on every dollar you make off your dollar that you already pay taxes on? We need a more sophisticated system, okay? We are so far behind in technology that the government is just going to suck it up until somebody steps up and gets in their head or actually takes over that knows what they're doing. You know what I mean? So with that being said, they got their hands in every basket everybody has in the countries, and people are getting sick of it. So they're going to find a way out of it. And, we can't stop it. So I don't hate on them for doing it. They got penalties and fines, probably jail time. But at the end of the day, the government's going to get paid either way, right? Whether or not these guys get fined, go to jail, whatever, they're going to take their money either way.
Okay.
So kudos to them. How's that?
Yeah, hey, listen, since I've been in crypto, there's been all kinds of scams. I've
Yep.
been scammed, I've been hacked, I've had bad situations happen. So that's why I have a ledger. I try to protect my crypto as much as possible. And that's why I think Bitcoin ETFs are going to be great, because now that there's going to be Bitcoin ETFs, we'll be able to buy Bitcoin and not even have to worry about hacking or getting our ledgers hacked or having any fraud happen in our crypto. So I think that's going to be really good for crypto. And that's why I believe the money is going to really flow in. Now, let's change gears because we've talked about Bitcoin for over half an hour. I want to talk about Donald Trump. There's some really bad news that's come out. Donald Trump doomed after co-defendants flip on him. So they're starting to flip on him. This is getting really bad for Donald Trump. I want to know what you guys think about this. What do you think about Donald Trump? Are we going to actually see Donald Trump go to jail? I never thought it would happen, but it seems like momentum is growing that he could potentially go to jail. So I'd love to know what your opinion is on this, Earl.
I view that he's not going to actually face near as many of the charges, if any, that are being brought against him. When somebody flips, it doesn't even say as to what tune or what they admitted that he had done in violation of what. So as far as them flipping, I mean, it could be that he stepped on a butterfly while walking out of Trump Towers,
Mm-hmm.
just to make him look bad. Get what I mean?
Yep.
So it could be anything, and it could be nothing to do with the legal cases going on, and they might not even have warrants to that information or subpoenas. So we'll have to see where it goes, whether they draw up new charges. I know there's things going on in New York as well as the Atlanta cases, so we'll just have to see where it goes, and then there's always more people out there to vote for. Trump isn't always the best man. He was just the best man at the time, and other people can do the job. He said that many times. He said he shouldn't have to do the job, but since nobody else would, he ran.
Okay. Nash
Mm-hmm.
Cowboy, what do you think? You think Donald Trump's in trouble?
I don't. I'm optimistic on it. I think he's going to come out good. Now them not letting them bring up certain things in the courtroom is not good. I think the whole thing's a witch hunt, and they're just trying to shut him up because they know that he's going to disrupt their Ponzi scheme. They've been trying to shut him up since day one. So, do I think he's in trouble? No. I'm going to keep optimistic and hope that everything comes out in the wash and we see a whole new world.
I know I would like to see Trump be the president of America again. And I felt like there was no wars when Trump was president. The market was really strong. We weren't having crazy high inflation. We weren't having crazy high interest rates. But there's still a lot of Americans and Canadians that think that, Trudeau's doing a good job and Biden's doing a good job, despite the fact that people are struggling left, right, and center. So I don't get it. I don't understand what people are looking at. I look at it like these guys have done a terrible job, but people look at the jobs. Oh, there's tons of jobs. Well, yeah, people have to work because they can't afford to live. So if you don't work, you're definitely going to starve in this world. So
Some,
it's kind of a scary
some,
time.
some
Blaze, what do you
people
think about
inject.
this? Trump in trouble?
Okay. No, absolutely not. You know, the United States of America are going to kind of an uproar. The White House, all that stuff gets attacked. His followers are so big. Plus, even has followers that are politicians. Multiple candidates, if they get the presidency, are gonna pardon him. If he may even get it before he even gets charged, where he can pardon himself. Absolutely not. Because if they really wanted Trump gone, they would have sniped him out like they did everybody else. Jail ain't gonna make him go away. He ain't gonna get jail. Nope.
Okay.
Absolutely. No, he's too powerful. He was money powerful before he became president of the United States, and now he's powerful by the people. You know what I mean? That's a bigger power.
He's the only president that ever lost money as president. That should tell you that.
Right. And people need to make their money. They need to make their money. We need to get on our feet. We need to get things fixed. And people are not going to take no for an answer on this. I'm telling you. It'll be a civil war again or something. I don't know, revolutionary, whatever. There's going to be another big problem in the United States if something happens to him, whether or not he's injured in any way or he's incarcerated. He will be out very quick.
Well, what do you guys think about this? Donald Trump fined $5,000 for violating a gag order. This was on Friday, yesterday, in New York, fraud case. And the judge even mentioned prison time because Trump continues to talk about the case on social media, even though the judge is saying he's not allowed to.
Freedom of speech.
The judge does not have the right to tell him that he's not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah, and judge and Trump pretty much came out and he slammed the gag order after paying a $5,000 fine, saying, "I'm not saying anything wrong." So it's like even the judge is against him. He's got the Democrats against him. He's got Biden against him. He's got half of America against him, and he's got
his case.
the
He
judge.
has an amendment.
Biden hired the judge. So
yeah.
So what do you guys think? We'll start with you. We'll start with you, Earl. I want to hear what you guys got to think about this one by one. Earl, what do you think about this?
I think the man has freedom of speech. It's not a criminal case at this time, but we'll have to see where it goes. But I mean, $5,000. I mean, the man's paid more than that for a flagpole that had a flag flying on it that was too tall. And he laughed it off. He's probably going to do the same thing with the 5,000. He's not worried about it. The prison time, we'll see where it goes from there. But he's been known to speak out, and I mean, he's not going to give control of his freedom of speech over to the Democrats. I think, but he might have his lawyer speak for it, or he might hire Rudy Giuliani to do all the speaking for him. We'll see how that one goes again.
Okay, Nash Cowboy, what do you think?
I think it's absolutely preposterous what they're trying to do to him to begin with. To tell somebody that they can't use their freedom of speech, that's unconstitutional, and thankfully we still have that right in this country. And if they, number one, the judge should be prosecuted for trying to stop his freedom of speech. And if anything, that judge needs to be in prison.
Okay. Blaze, what do you
I
think
was going to
about
say
this?
what Nash said. Took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say what Earl said because we're all in the right click on this. We don't agree on everything all the time. But if you think you can throw your judge badge around and tell one of the most successful men in the world he is not allowed to talk about his own case and fine him, now he paid $5,000. So that judge is in trouble. If Donald wanted to go against him, he could probably bury him and take his job. In this country, freedom of speech. So people are celebrating death, but a president cannot talk about his own case. Give me a break.
Okay. So let's go here. So this is starting to really escalate, where Trump is in the news every day for negative stuff, and now Trump's lawyer Kenneth Cheesebro has pleaded guilty to a felony just as a jury selection was getting underway in his trial. So now his lawyer has pleaded guilty in the Trump case, and he's taking a plea deal. So is his lawyer going to start ratting on Trump? Is that what's happening here? And if he rats on Trump and takes a plea deal against Trump, does that mean that Trump is going to get jail time? Because it
That's
seems like
another
they're trying to
lawsuit.
turn everything against Trump right now. So what do you think about this, Earl? Hear about this?
I don't think that he's going to try to save his own rear end from whatever he does because they already pled guilty to it. So I mean, he's not trying to save his own skin. I mean, it's going to deplete him from the case as a witness if he's in prison, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah, prisoners
he's not
can't go
worried
on the
about it.
stand like that. Their word's no good.
It just seems crazy. Like it seems like it's escalating and all this stuff is starting to fall apart and all these people are starting to turn on Trump and they're doing everything they can to try to throw Trump under the bus, including getting his own lawyers to turn on him, getting everyone to turn on him, and they're just doing everything they can because we're getting close to the election and they're worried that Trump's going to beat Biden because anyone that has a heartbeat could pretty much beat Biden. So, Nash Cowboy, what do you think's going to happen here, man? Like, is this bad news for Trump?
I don't think it is. I think a lot of it's. I mean, what's the plea deal? You know what I'm saying? Uh, what did he agree on?
Mm.
Because a plea deal is a deal. You got to do something to get whatever. Who knows? Again, the whole thing's smoke and mirrors to hide what's really going on in this world. That's my opinion.
I have someone in the group chat saying that he goes, "What planet are you guys on? Trump was the worst president in the world." See, this is the problem. There's people that actually think that Trump
Well,
was
they
the
got
worst president
opinions.
in the world, and they actually think Biden is a good president. Meanwhile,
Right.
Biden is creating world war, funding Ukraine war, funding the Israel Hamas war, and now looking to get another $100 billion so that they can continue to fund these wars. And meanwhile, America is about to go bankrupt on November 17th. And people are thinking that Biden's doing a good job. This is what's
Well,
wrong with the world right there. People are just clueless. What do
mm.
you think about this, Blaze?
Well, the person in the chat, hey, all the power to you. You got your own opinion. But anyways,
Crazy.
look, somebody bailing out, taking a plea bargain is just to scare Trump, okay? And they had that person in the back room for quite a while. You know, they gave him the ups and downs. Look, you don't do this, you don't do that. They scared him. So
Probably offered him money too.
it's not gonna affect Trump. It's gonna actually benefit him. And what kind of a lawyer down the line? I mean, you're barking about confidential things between you and a client. You know, that's like kind of like a doctor thing too. I don't know. Trump's a smart man. He'll sue everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
Okay, well
they all
said.
should shut up because when he takes office, he's going to fire them all.
100% he will. And he's going
He's
to put them
firing
in jail.
everybody. You're all gone. When Trump gets in office, you're all goodbye. So keep on trying. That's why they're all against him, Rich, because they know if he takes president, there's so many jobs up for grabs.
They're done. They're
You're
they're
done.
finished.
So now they're feeding us lies about him to make us hate him, which we're going to like him more because he's being bullied by his own government.
100%.
And I'm an anti-bully, to let all you guys know.
Oh, I know you are. So listen, let's change gears from Trump. Let's talk about this war. We've got, a few minutes left, so I want to get your guys' opinion on this. So Israel is bombing Gaza hard. Obviously, we know what happened on October 7th when Israel got attacked. Uh, Palestinians, Hamas, Iranians, Middle Eastern people celebrated victory on October 7th as over 1,000 Israelis were slaughtered, men, women, and children. 260 young adults were slaughtered at a festival on a Jewish holiday. There's still 200 hostages that have been taken that haven't been released. And now Israel has bombarded Gaza. Thousands of Palestinians have now died. Now people are asking for a ceasefire. Now they're asking for the Israelis to stop. They're calling it genocide. China and Russia met this week. Biden met with Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, this week. The UK met with the prime minister of Israel this week. It seems like the whole world is talking about this war. And then on Friday, 2 American Israeli hostages were released. Israel vows to fight until victory after the Hamas released 2 American hostages. And when they released those American hostages, they pretty much insulted America and Biden and pretty much blamed Biden for this war. What do you think about this move to obviously it's great that 2 hostages got released. What do you think about this move? Why did this happen? Does this mean that more hostages are going to be released? What do you think about this, King Earl?
Well, I think they had to show that they actually had them and that they was actually still alive or being held, um, so they could actually hold the others for ransom. I mean, this by no means makes the group or organization that is holding these people good people, because if that was the case, why are they holding them in the first place against their will without court cases or being imprisoned within something other than war crimes or POW? Um, because these people had nothing to do with it. Obviously, they were just at the concert. Um, but if they are guilty of something, hold a trial. Put them before an attorney. But we'll have to see from there. But I mean, they're bad people. That are holding these people. Otherwise, they wouldn't have held them hostage to begin with. That's not saying that either side is good. It's just saying that the one side is trying to gaslight themselves, isn't doing a good job because of some of the moves they have taken.
Okay.
Yeah,
What do you
let's
think,
not
Nash
forget.
Cowboy?
Yeah, I'm with Earl. Let's not forget that they took them hostage to begin with. Not with either side. I don't want to see any innocent people die or get hurt or be even just held hostage. But people try and put rules on war. It's war. Things happen, and unfortunately, things get really out of hand sometimes, and people don't care about basic morals. So, should they have taken them to begin with? No, absolutely not. Do I think it's a good sign that they're releasing them or did release them? No, I think they're trying to play the good guy. But I'm not, again, I'm not on either side.
They're playing the good guy,
There's
but they still got
already
200 hostages.
Yeah,
there's
they
already
just
been way too
they
many
garbage.
innocent
They
children
return
die.
1% of their hostages, and now they're the good guys. Meanwhile,
There's already been way too
99% of
many
the
innocent
hostages are
children.
still being held. It's
Way too
it's
many
it's very
innocent
interesting.
children die. Absolutely.
Blaze, what do you think about this? 2 American Israeli hostages have been released. They're going back to Chicago, Illinois. What do you think about this? Obviously, it's good news, but is this a sign that more hostages are coming home? Like, what do you think?
I'm up in the air about it all. To be honest with you, yeah, it's a good sign, but there's 200 people that we don't even know if they're alive right now. You
Very
know,
true.
so they want a ceasefire. They want this and that and the next. Look, Israel made a fair warning the last time something happened, and if you're Palestinian, you outnumber the Hamas. You know what I mean? You got to help stop it. They got to do it themselves. They got to help. They can't just sit there and let these people hide in their doors and get blown up. Like they're dropping bombs to get them back, but these people went into Israel and savagely looked people in the eye and took their lives and raped them and hurt them. So it's going to be hard. It's a bitter pill to swallow for Israel, and I think they're going hard, and they're not gonna listen to anybody. They're just going to keep going. I'm sorry to say it, but they're not happy right now, and it's going to take quite some time. So
I could
two
just say,
hostages better be 200, because if it's not, then they're going to wipe out the whole entire lot. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean they're devastating Gaza. There's over 4,000 Palestinians now dead, and that's very very sad. and I really don't know what the path to peace is.
And you
Because when
said
I talk to Israelis,
two American Israelis, American, right?
that's right.
So what does that do for Israel? Where is
Nothing.
their
Nothing.
people? So
Nothing.
the people you want to stop fighting, you give the hostages to the other country.
That's right.
That makes zero sense.
All I can
Cool.
say
That's
is
why I
if
wanted to get your opinion on it as Americans.
Yeah.
What you guys thought about this. So let's talk about this. So now there's protests happening all over the world. Israel Hamas war sweeps the globe as nations ramp up security. So literally, there's protests happening all over the world now. These protests are happening in schools in America. These protests are happening all over Canada. They're happening all over the Middle East. They're happening in Spain. They're happening in France. They're happening in Belgium. There's been murders that have happened, and there's been different leaders that are, I guess, terrorist groups that have asked for terror and for death in other countries. And we're starting to see that now. We've seen deaths in Belgium, France. Today we had a death in America, which I'm going to talk about shortly. What do you think about these protests that are happening all over the world? Are these peaceful protests? Are these evil protests? Or are these protests escalating more hate? That's what I see is happening. I don't find these peaceful protests at all. I feel like these protests are escalating and it's causing more anger, more fighting, more death. What do you think about these supposed protests that are happening all over the world where they're asking for fire and hate and they're asking for death to Jews and Americans all over the world? What do you think about this, Earl?
I think that people have the right to stand up and protest whatever they want and stand in the streets and express themselves or their heritage or where they come from, no matter what the ideology or idiocracy is. Um, but at the same time, don't be asking for peace and then for one side to quit firing rockets or killing people when in the same part of the speech you're talking about wiping out or eradicating the people who have oppressed you or taken over the land, because it goes to show that you're not looking for peace or a ceasefire at all. You're only looking at a ceasefire from one side, and that's it, so that your side can win.
Yep,
That's it.
I agree with that. What do you think, Nash Cowboy?
I'm totally, I'm totally with Earl on that one. It's gotten out of hand. I sent you an article a couple days ago, I think, that where a little Muslim boy was killed by a landlord, and he tried to kill the mother too, and said that all
Terrible.
Muslims should die.
It's terrible.
That's sickening. That's sickening. That's a little child, and and it's going on both sides. It's horrible. They're targeting the Jews here. They're targeting Palestinians here, Palestinians. Um, it's horrible, and something's got to stop. And it's much different in big cities. Uh, that shit don't fly around here. Um, I think it's going to come down to something big.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see what the pathway to peace is. You got, when I speak to Israelis, they do not want to stop until the Hamas and terrorist groups are wiped out, which is almost impossible. And when I speak to Palestinians or Hamas or Lebanese or anyone in the Middle East, they don't want to stop until the Jews are wiped out. It's been like that since the beginning of the Bible. It's been like that for thousands of years. So what's going to stop it now? I mean, who can stop it now? All I want is to pray for peace for everyone so that our children can grow up in a safe world where they don't have to be afraid of terrorism. But unfortunately, it seems like terrorism is only growing stronger as this war grows into its second week. It's only escalating the anger and the tensions between the different religions, the different nations, and everybody that's involved one way or another. And I want to show you guys one more article, but before that, I want to get your opinion on this, Blaze. What do you think about this?
Well, I'm up in the air. I really don't have comments on this one. It's just going to escalate my opinion the wrong way, you know. And I'm trying to be good and trying to be, you know, neutral. You know,
I
I
totally
really,
understand. It's
I'm
messy.
really
It's a
stuck
messy
on it.
situation.
I'm
It's not
emotional
nice to
about it.
see people die of any culture, any
It's just
age,
that,
any
Rich.
sex.
The problem is, bro, is that you're protesting on American soil. Okay, outside
Absolutely.
colleges, we have nothing to do with what happened there. You're making mayhem and havoc, state to state, province to province in Canada. But you're over there in the same breath saying how much you hate Americans. Freedom of speech is being abused, bro, and
Agreed.
freedom to protest is being abused.
It's
What are you
one thing to
protesting?
protest. It's another
You
thing to
protest on our
protest.
soil. What happened on our soil?
I
We
think it's okay
cannot
to
control
protest,
that.
but when you start hating on people
It becomes
and
a
you're
hate
starting to
crime.
wish death on people, I
Yes,
think
it's
it
a
goes
hate
too
crime.
far. And I think people should be arrested because those
Well,
people
that
are
made this
dangerous
happen.
people.
It
If you
made
have
this
that much
happen.
hate in your heart and you're going on the streets and talking about murdering people, I think you should be arrested. I don't care what
Well, one of
country.
the DAs is going to get mad and he's going to set an example on one of the rallies. You'll see.
It has to happen because it's
Oh,
happening in
it's going to
France.
happen because there's people's kids out there that are trying to go to school, man.
Of course. And kids are, I've been watching, there's kids afraid of going to school because they think they're going to get killed.
You got kids working 4 jobs over there trying to go to school, and they can't do that because
There's
people are
girls that are going
protesting.
to Harvard that are like paying $100,000 a year to go to school, and their families are paying 100,000 plus a year to go to school, and
And some of them don't even
they're afraid
have
of
that.
being
They're struggling.
murdered at school because every time they go to school, they have to hear people protesting how they want to kill Jews. How is that okay? That's
It never
not.
will
That's
be.
not. That's not freedom of speech. That's hate speech. So
Yeah,
I don't like it. I don't like it, and I don't want to
That's
hear.
why I was
And
up
I
in
don't
the
want to
air,
hear
Rich.
Jewish people talking about killing Palestinians either. I don't want to hear
No,
either of it. I don't
nope.
want to see
Once
anybody die. I
once the
want
threat
world
comes out
peace.
direct, it
I
is
want
a
to
it is
continue
an
to push for
incident.
peace. Now, I got one more article that's very disturbing, and I want to share it with you guys. And this blew my mind today. And like, I got to get your guys' opinion on this. So, a prominent Jewish leader was found stabbed to death in Detroit. This is her right here. Her name is Samantha Wall, 40 years old. She was the president of a local synagogue. She was found stabbed to death, 40 years old. Now, when I read the article, what really bothered me about it is they say they have no motive.
Huh.
Really, there's no motive. A prominent Jewish leader in Detroit who is praised for her work building ties between Jews and Muslims. So she was trying to make things better between Jews and Muslims, has been found dead with multiple stab wounds outside of her home. 40 years old, stabbed to death. And they're saying that they have no cause, no leads, no motive for this death. So you're telling me there's people protesting all over the world saying they want to kill Jews. There's people protesting all over the world against Israelis. And now a prominent synagogue leader gets stabbed to death outside of her home, and you have no cause for death? I got like, come on, let's be real. Like, people are talking about being bombed, being murdered, being slaughtered, and you have no motive for this death? Earl, what do you think about this, brother?
I think that there is no motive until there is a suspect that has been found to have a motive.
Okay.
Now, could it have been a motively driven attack? Yes, but they won't know until they have a suspect of who actually did it. Um, because an attack is an attack until you have someone who did it to clear the motive of why they would have done it.
Okay.
Because for
Well,
all we know, she could have been robbed, and it could have been something completely not even motive driven by this. High likelihood it is. However, you can't set a definitive motive on it until there is a suspect in custody.
okay. Well said. Nash Cowboy, what do you think about this?
I'm with Earl on that. People outside of the states might not know how rough Detroit is, but there's killings there all the time.
Yep. True.
Is it likely that there is a motive and it's just because she's a Jewish leader? Yes. But there are a lot of killings in Detroit and Chicago and Memphis and Little Rock, you know, that have nothing to do with stuff like this. So, odds are with what's going on that there's a 50-50 shot that it is motivated just because she's a Jewish lady. That's where I'm leaning. But just like the little Muslim boy I just talked about, that was targeted just for being a Muslim, that's wrong. If this isn't motivated, it's still wrong. The fact is, a wonderful person probably got murdered. So.
Absolutely. Blaze, what do you think about this?
Well,
This
I
this
mean,
is
it
happening in
doesn't
American
necessarily.
soil now, guys. This is what I'm trying to say
Yeah,
here. Like,
it doesn't necessarily have to be a Muslim or a Palestinian that done this, because she was trying to make the two relate, right? She was
correct.
one of those people. So maybe a Jewish person, right, got pissed at her because they
Possible.
believed in the peace and it went backwards and the war happened. They were like, look what you're promoting, and it went backwards. So there's all kinds of motives. But like Earl said, until they get a suspect, we really ain't gonna get a direct motive. But my opinion, I think it was somebody on her side that got her because they feel like that she was teaching the wrong thing.
I feel like she's a traitor. Yeah,
My
it's
thing is
possible. It's
this.
very
My thing is
possible.
this, guys. I'm worried.
Because it had to have been someone close to her, that got mad.
My thing is this, guys. I'm worried that we are getting to a point where, and we've talked about this, where this war is now going to get into our backyards, right? I'm worried that this hate, all of the potential people running in through the southern border, all of the potential immigrants and refugees coming into Canada, this hate, these protests, this constant anger is boiling up and is going to start affecting us in our neighborhoods. So when I see this article, right away, I'm like, this is what I was worried about. This is what I'm concerned about. This is not just a war in the Middle East. We've already seen people in Belgium get murdered, a teacher in France get murdered. Now we see a lady that's a leader of a Jewish synagogue, prominent leader of a Jewish synagogue get murdered, and no one knows who did it. Well, of course, they're not going to just admit it because they don't want them to know that they're in our neighborhoods. But this is a problem, a global problem. Terrorism is a global problem. It is everywhere. And until we can eliminate terrorism, we are going to have to live in fear. And that's essentially what terrorists want. They want us to live in fear. It doesn't matter if it's in the Middle East, if it's Canada, the United States, Europe, Africa, Asia. They want us to live in fear. And unfortunately, in my opinion, they're winning. They're winning because look at what's happening. There's murders being happening all over the world. And it's just the beginning. And it's only going to escalate when Biden is putting out $100 billion of funding and aid. That tells me that this war ain't going to stop anytime soon. And he's going to be funding another 60 billion to Ukraine, which tells me that that war ain't going to stop anytime soon. Now we're hearing that China could be invading Taiwan imminently. So there's all these wars that are escalating and starting to happen all over the world, and it's only getting worse. So my question to you guys is this: before we say goodbye to all of you, we've been live for over an hour. Thank you guys for your time and your effort and your energy, and for our Bull and Bear Show episode number 22. I just want your guys' final thoughts. Like, if you guys were the president of the United States, what would you do to solve this? How do we get to a pathway to peace? It's obviously getting worse. It's obviously escalating. Things are getting heated. What would be your solution? What would be your pathway to peace if you were the president of the United States? Start with you, King Earl.
That's going to be a tough one. I would have to say you're going to have to sit down with the tribal leaders of the Palestinian government and the people. And then you're also going to have to sit down with other tribal leaders across the Middle East, get a group consensus of what each party wants, and clear representation from both sides. And then you're going to bring that to the table of Israel, and you're going to set it up. Now, there's a two-party system that rules over the area of Palestine, Israel. There probably needs to be two within just Palestine itself for the Hamas group, and then also Palestine itself, whether they split off and separate. And it's up to the people to decide whether they want to be ruled by terrorism, or they want to be ruled by a standing government that represents them rather than just gets them killed.
Okay, well said. Nash Cowboy, you're the president of the United States. What are you going to do to solve this problem?
Well, if I was president of the United States, I'd put my fingers on that nuke button and look at my vice president, Earl, and say, hold my beer, Bubba, watch this. No. I would, oh man, that's tough. I would have never let it get this far to begin with. I would have never funded Ukraine. And just, there's a fine line there, because in one sense we lay down the law with other countries, in another sense we help other countries. So you've got to find that perfect balance in saying, hey, you can't do this, or we're stepping in full throttle. There's no funding Ukraine, giving them little weapons. No, there's, Donald Trump, when he said something, shit stopped. He got us out of 4 wars for a reason. It's because people knew. But with this presidency that's in there now, it's coward. Oh, well, we'll give you billions of dollars just to help you. No, it doesn't work like that.
He's adding fuel to the fire constantly by giving them weapons, giving them money. He
Yeah.
doesn't want these wars to end. He's pure evil.
Absolutely.
He doesn't want the deaths to stop. He wants them to be escalated. He wants it to continue. He's sending warships to the Middle East. He's escalating the war. He's making it worse. So, Blaze, you're the president of America. How do you stop this war? These wars.
Simple. I would send special forces in, have them do their job because they can. Try and find where the hostages are, and get them out of there, and then move out. That's it. But here's the thing. The problem is when you see a president talk and say that we want to give $100 billion to give people, an opportunity and this and that, and you walk down the streets of your own town and people are sleeping on park benches that have paid taxes in their life. I'm sorry, Ukraine. I'm sorry, Israel. But at the end of the day, we don't look good taking people's tax money and giving it to you guys and then watching our own starve and suffer. And moms or dads that can't even get a benefit to help them get those kids to be the future president and soldiers of this country, or businessmen or businesswomen. So I'm against it. Zelensky, you got enough, punk. You're an actor. You're not even a president. No more. Stop begging. I'm done with him. But as far as Israel, we got to stay there. We got to do what we got to do. Our duty is to get our people back to the United States of America. That's our first duty. Anything after that is helping, okay? We need to get our people back here ASAP. Because I'm a dad that lost their kid, and I can imagine what these parents feel like right now.
Yeah, it's terrible. Well, my solution would be this. I say all the powers of the world get together and say, listen, we have a major problem in this world. It's called terrorism. Let's eliminate it. Let's eliminate terrorism. Why are we killing civilians? Why are we killing innocent people? None of this makes any sense. Let's all work together as a world and just eliminate all the evil in this world. That's
I think
it.
they work daily on trying to eliminate
that should be the only thing that everyone's focused on. Every war should be a war on eliminating terrorism. Eliminate all the terrorism and all these problems go away.
The military's constantly.
If Hamas, which is a terrorist group funded by Iran, supposedly, is eliminated, Israel and Palestine are working hand in hand perfectly well. The Palestinian people are afraid of the Hamas, which is a terrorist group that's occupying Gaza as the the political leader in that region. Same problem is happening in Lebanon, where the people are very poor, and Hezbollah, another terrorist organization, is occupying that land. Why do we allow these terrorists to exist and coexist in our lives? This is the problem. It's not the civilians that are dying. That's not solving anything. It's the terrorists that are killing people for fun or for sport that need to be eradicated. A lot of politicians talk about it, but they're not actually going all the way to eliminate the problem. This is the problem. At the heart of everything, this is the problem. And until we figure out how to eliminate this, it's only going to get worse because they consistently get funded, they're consistently getting trained, and they're consistently recruiting new people, new young men, typically, to carry out these heinous, disgusting acts on women, men, and children of all ages all over the world, and it needs to stop. All we want to do is pray for peace. I continue to pray for peace, and that's all I want for everyone. I'm not picking a side. I want the guns to be put down. I want the weapons to be put down. I want the Israelis and the Palestinians to coexist. Everyone should have land where they can coexist. Every child, every woman, every man should be able to wake up in the morning and feel safe. Every child should be able to go to school, grow up, have a future all over the world. And unfortunately, we live in a world that's fueled by money, greed, and evil at the highest level. And what we need to do is we need to come together and eradicate that evil, eradicate the elite that are making the decisions and using people as pawns to benefit their own agendas. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. We got 3 guys from America here. I love your guys' opinions. Blaze, thank you for joining us. King Earl, thank you for joining us. Nash Cowboy, thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next week. We appreciate you guys. And guys, stay safe and have a great weekend.
Salute.
Thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you're not winning, you're probably not watching. Thank you for watching the Bull and Bear Show, episode number 22. Go Bitcoin. Stay hot. Hopefully next week we see you, 32,000. See you guys. Peace.
Salute. Catch you guys later.